Yeah, so for 200, 300 years, what we've had is a situation where technological capital has been used to amplify human capital. Yeah,
Yeah.
whether that is to do with, I don't know, what
Farming. Let's just take farming. Tractors.
great example. Yep, farming, or whether it's spreadsheets. Yeah, but technology has been used to amplify human capital. Farming is an excellent example, right? But we're now in a situation where slowly technology is outperforming humans in so many areas
Mm,
and will continue to do so. Translation is the one that people always point to, right?
mm.
As one of the first things to fall. And that will continue. A few years ago, we said, oh, yeah, but technology can't be creative. So the creatives will be okay. Nobody's saying that anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have to rethink what the role of human capital will be in a situation where our relationship with the world of work needs to change because technology can do a lot of the things that we used to do. So
Mm,
what do we bring to the table? What we do bring to the table is a lived experience. Technology isn't alive, right? At least
mhm,
not by standards we call today something that
mhm,
is living. Things like adaptability, agility, creativity, the empathy, the things, the ability to be introspective, yeah, to use a lived experience and translate that lived experience into something that makes sense to another person with a lived experience. Yeah.
mm.
Which is why I think songs written by humans will probably always outperform songs written by technology, because if you're talking about lyrics, you can resonate with somebody else's lived experience, right?
Yeah.
If you get something that was written really well by technology, it may be amazing, but can you really connect with it on the basis of somebody who has lived that experience? Probably not. So I think in certain respects, the absolute skills that we have as human beings are our imperfections. There are
Mm.
flaws. There are the things that make us imprecise. All of those things will still be relevant. In fact, I think even more relevant in the future. Now, I think that is where we lean in as humans,
Mhm.
as technology takes the place of our abilities to do things perfectly. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that we should lean into our human imperfections as technology starts doing the technical parts. But when I speak to other tech experts, and I'm going to have some of them from the continent on this podcast, and we talk about how Africa can move forward, they say we need to equip our young population with technological knowledge. We
Yeah.
need to get them knowing all about technology.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
But the difference I would add there is that to know about the technology is also to know about how and where we can't outperform the technology. So therefore, how do we use the technology to become a co-creator or a co-pilot of how we're working, right?
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
what are the things that we bring to the table as humans that are probably going to be pretty hard for technology to replicate? Yeah, and we're not talking about mathematical problems here. We're not talking about, quite honestly, we're probably not talking about STEM as much as we were 5 years ago, because a lot of those challenges will be resolved by technology. But
So what are we talking about?
I'm talking about asking the right questions, asking really finely honed questions of the technology.
So critical thinking and lateral thinking is what Africans should be focusing on.
I absolutely think so.
Cognitive skills.
Yeah. That doesn't mean not understanding the technology. I think it actually means leaning into the technology. We should be getting as many people as possible to start using these tools, not to think of it as cheating, but to think of it, as a means of helping us to be better humans. Yeah. And amplifying that technology's capabilities based on the stuff that we bring with a lived experience. So I think there's a lot there.
There's so much opportunities for growth in Africa, so much opportunities for us to do amazing things. I'm trying to understand the best way to phrase this because technology can also help solve that educational problem that we said in the beginning. With regards to increasing education, technology can help with that. Do we just put the technology in the hands of everybody on the continent and be like, just play with it and figure it out? Is it a thing that it's more of a guided learning where
Mm.
we're taking people through it? Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out how we can use that to improve our standing globally.
I mean, I'm not going to predict right now. Predictions almost always fail, right?
Yeah.
And if we think about the historical data or even predictive analysis. What these things don't take into consideration are things like the influences and the drivers into our things that build our values, or the things that we hold dear to us. Yeah, the things that define us, which is why pollsters get it wrong so often, because it's the invisible stuff, right? I'm not going to sit here and say this is what we need to do, but I think that there is a movement towards being comfortable with not knowing, but being able to shapeshift accordingly as things change.
On the continent and the global north?
I think people on the continent do it anyway, because that is the backdrop. The point I was making is that Africa has had hundreds of years of uncertainty and the need to shapeshift as things change, right? So that doesn't go away. I think that skill set, and I do call it a skill set, will be more required than ever moving forward. And we'll start to see the fundamentals of that shift in the next, say, I think 20 years. I think a lot is going to change within the next 20 years in terms of the way you think about successful models, and how things that we have always known won't necessarily be as sturdy in terms of the things that we will know moving forward. I think the next 20 years is going to be really fascinating. But I think during that period, I think Africa has I think it's a sleeping giant. And I think so many people underestimate its role in the world moving forward, because of the fact that they are looking at historical model of Africa and what they know about how it has been manipulated and manipulable over the last 500 and so on and beyond. I think that the shifts that are coming will be seismic. And as I say, predictions almost always fail. So I'm not going to predict what's going to happen, but I believe that there are things that we don't know or don't anticipate now that will become apparent. And, future historians will say, oh, but of course that was going to happen.